Hey! Hello, world! So it's after date day. We vlogged a little bit, but then we just wanted to do a little Q&A about us and about our relationship, our long distance relationship.
Yeah, we always get asked like questions by our colleagues and friends.
Not too many random people. We're not like famous, but we do get a lot of the same questions, and so hopefully our friends and family will watch this, or anyone that needs help or advice can watch this as well.
Yeah.
So we're gonna do just a little Q&A. So the first question is, how did we meet?
We met summer 2015, working at a camp in New York State, but working with kids from New York City. It was like, what, June 14th?
That's when we met. Like, that's when we call that like our friend-iversary, because we don't really have like an anniversary, because
really,
we were friends first.
It just kind of clicked. And
yeah, so he was working as the athletic director at the
older kids camp.
Yep.
And you were the cabin life director, so looked after like all the campers and staff, basically, at the younger kids camp.
But the two camps are like a mile down the road from each other, and we did all of our staff training together. So we just hit it off really as friends. Like, I don't know, we just
you found me funny when I accidentally said the wrong job title during our staff training, and I accidentally said I'm the arts and crafts.
Yeah. He made
coordinator instead of the athletics coordinator.
And he helped me with my math homework.
Yeah.
So, and then just from there, it grew into a relationship, and then here we are almost 3 years later.
Yeah.
Second question that we get asked pretty often is, where do we live? I'm a little bit of a nomad, or have been for the past few years. People are always asking me what I'm doing, because I don't really post all the details on social media, just some of them. So people are always curious about where we live, what we're doing. Some people think I live in England. So I live in New Jersey, in southern New Jersey, outside of Philadelphia.
And I lived like half an hour outside of Birmingham. It's kind of like in the middle of nowhere, in between Birmingham, Coventry, Derby, Nottingham.
So obviously I'm American.
And I'm British.
Yeah. Another question we get asked really often is how we're able to see each other so often, i.e., what do we do for a job, or what do we do in our lives that it's possible to see each other. So I currently am attempting to finish my undergrad geography degree, and I work for the YMCA like I've been doing forever.
And I'm doing my initial teacher training to hopefully become a PE teacher at university at the moment. So I have a lot of time off when it comes to like half terms and like end of terms, when no one's in school, basically.
Yeah, so because of Christmas break, spring break, and then in England, they have half term, which you go
It's just like a week off.
Every 6 weeks?
Yeah, six to 8 weeks, I'd say.
Yeah, so because of those things, this year, we've been able to see each other at those times.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of misconceptions about long-distance relationships. People often ask how long we've been together at any given time. People tend to think that we only see each other for maybe 10 days.
A week or 2 weeks.
Yeah. Now that does happen. However, in the almost 3 years that we've been together, for 2 of those summers, Mike was here working at summer camp for 3 whole months. So for 3 whole months, and then usually he spent his extra month, right? So that's
yeah,
like
you
4
get
months.
like 30 days after a J1 visa.
Yep. He would spend
Extra
his
stay.
travel month hanging out with me,
Yeah,
living with me.
before I
So
had to go back to finding a job or school or whatever I was doing at the time.
yeah. So for two separate times in the almost 3 years that we've been together, Mike was here living for 4 months. So that's definitely the longest length of time that we've been together, which is almost approaching half a year, which is not a short amount of time at all.
Yeah, and then last summer we were together for like 2.5 months, and we did some traveling around at the same time.
Yep, went to Italy. I was home based out of his house in England,
Yeah.
but we traveled to Italy and Germany and
Scotland,
Scotland.
quite a few places.
It was really good. People are often astonished that we have maintained a long distance relationship for 3 years, though I do know people that have done it for a lot longer.
Yeah.
And a big question we get asked is, what's the worst thing about not being together?
So for me, it is like the time difference and communicating, mainly because number one, I'm not good at communicating with like most people as it is. That includes like my parents. I'm terrible at communicating. And then the time difference makes it a lot harder because it might be a perfect time for me to be having a conversation, whereas Chris might be at work and school, and then vice versa. So those two things I find very difficult to work with.
For me, I'm just starting to get sick of not being together. You get to a certain point where you would much rather just be living together, pulling your money together, making plans together. We've been really good about setting goals and making plans in our lives together and making a lot of those decisions conjointly. But there does come a point, and right now we're coming to one where what's next? What are we doing? Where are we going? What's the plan? And so I'm just kind of getting sick of being apart, really.
Yeah, so am I.
I think this question is less of a long distance question and more of just a relationship question in general. What do we fight about? I get mad at Mike. Sometimes his communication, he doesn't know how to say, like, I'm hungry, I need food.
Hey babe, I'm hungry, I need food.
There's a lot of, there can be communication issues, but it's weird. I think sometimes people tend to think, like, in a bigger sense. No, I literally mean he doesn't know how to say, I'm hungry, or there's an expectation that I need to deliver on the food. And I'm like, go get food yourself. You're a grown man. Or when I need his help with something, he either takes a really long time to do it, or his attention span is really short, and I get really frustrated. And then my communication is not on point. But there is absolutely nothing on my end that's like big.
So what I get frustrated with the most is that Chris sets her alarm an hour and a half before she wakes up. And although she can fall asleep very easily, I can't. So if she's wanting to wake up at 8 o'clock, her alarm is set for 6:30. So I'm awake at 6:30 and can't get back to sleep, which does really frustrate me, and I wish she would set shorter periods between each alarm instead of setting one 6:30, 7, 7:30, 8. Just set them at like 7:30, 7:40, 7:50, 8 o'clock.
I'm trying to be proactive. I mean, all my friends say the same thing, so sorry. There was an issue when I had Mumford & Sons' Little Lion Man as my alarm, and it just kept playing over and over and over because it just didn't wake up. But yeah, we don't fight about anything big. Yeah. Sometimes we get in
little
big fights, but it's not. It usually has more to do with our own stress levels.
Yes.
Than the actual subject. Yeah. So the biggest question we get asked is, how do you make a long distance relationship work? And while I wish there was some really easy answer, mostly it comes down to loving one another and having lots of trust.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't have any, like, it does not even cross my mind to have any doubt about what he's doing or who he's friends with, or
Yeah.
and I hope the same.
Yeah, I'm exactly the same.
Yeah. And it really just, I don't know, we just care about each other, and he's, I'm going to say one of my best friends, because I think my other best friends would be a little PO'd, but he's one of my best friends, and sometimes I have nightmares that I'm with other boyfriends, and then in the nightmare, I'm like, where...
You mean past boyfriends, not other...
Oh, yeah, like past boyfriends, and in the nightmare, I'm like, where's Mike? And, yeah, I don't know, do you have anything to add to that?
I think it's like at times just having to like drop things that you're doing that might not be as important. Like I might be wanting to watch the basketball, and then Chris will phone and like talking to Chris is more important than watching the basketball. Or I might be needing to write a lesson plan, but I know I can write one of them like straight away, 5 minutes at most, and I can do that when I get to work in the morning when she's still asleep. So
Oh, that's
just
nice.
dropping some things that aren't as important at that moment in time and communicating.
Yeah.
Or trying to communicate, in my opinion, because I'm not good at communicating, as I've already said.
Yeah. Yeah. So trust, attempting communication, priorities, and just loving each other.
Yeah.
It's a big one. Get out of the way, Becky.
Yeah, Becky. Always ruining our video.